All right, gentlemen, great to see everyone. Mr. Dean is next to me, Secretary Dean. We are 6 feet. He's a lot taller man, and I'm very short. It's great to see you all. We had a great annual meeting. I want to just kind of, first of all, welcome everybody to this call and let you all know as a board, we certainly wish we were in person with you. And it's a different year. I know we've all gotten very used to Zoom calls and going through this format, but it is very open and honestly, from a board perspective, it is very challenging to train. Neither Russell Dean and I are self-identified as tech experts, but we've done our best we can on this format. I know we all have a cursory understanding of Zoom, but I do appreciate everybody's patience as we navigate some of the things we're going to have to do, switching back and forth between PowerPoints and the like. But like our annual meeting, we're going to try and make this as enjoyable as possible for anyone. Please utilize the chat menu for questions and commentary throughout the way. But that, of course, gives me an entree to jump in and touch base with a topic that's very important to this organization. I'm going to speak a little bit from my predecessors. A number of you around this table due to a gentleman named Fred Zenson. And for those of you who are not here due to Fred Zenson, you are very likely here due to Don Huber. Those two gentlemen laid an incredible foundation of brotherhood for this group. And one of the things that is very important to acknowledge is that we have an incredible diversity of membership, ideologies, culture, background, history, future goals, goals that may never be achieved, families, integrated families, single parents, gentlemen who have never had kids ever. The reason I say that is we are a melting pot of society. And along with that will come the reality that there are going to be many times individuals that you will be asked to work with that are going to just be maybe a little bit and think just a little bit differently than you do. But our uniting voice is the opportunity to participate in a sport we love dearly, and that's the sport of lacrosse. I always ask, much like Fred and Don did prior to me, is our role is here in servant leadership. And what servant leadership means is doing exactly the right things, exactly when we're needed to act. We're game managers, we're problem solvers, but most of all, we're great humans. And I truly believe, and our board is very proud of the fact that together as a group, through all of our diversity, we're stronger as one unit. And our linking quality is the love of lacrosse and the love of creating a healthy brotherhood. Last at our annual meeting, there was an incident that is not okay within this organization. And I hope a number of you have taken the time to read the letter submitted by our member that was responsible for that incident. That leads me directly into the respect we need to pay each other also when we utilize the technologies such as the chat menu. And that menu is there to ask questions, to talk to people, and in pulling it up here and looking at it, it's great to see that people know how to use it and use it respectfully. Let's use it as a tool, not so much as an ability to criticize or pass judgment. And I know it's hard sometimes. We all have very strong feelings for how we believe, but I'll tell you one area we all believe in the strongest, and that's a healthy brotherhood of getting out on the field, making lacrosse games a reality. So with that, I want to give you a preface to tonight's meeting. Russell Dean, our secretary, will be taking us through a vast majority of that meeting. Our board of directors works together on our agendas that we put in front of you and the curriculum, but know that nothing, and we realize nothing replaces on-field experiences together. For those of you who are new into this craft and profession, we invite you to, it probably is going to feel sometimes like you're taking a drink of water from a fire hydrant. That is okay and very normal. most times, especially the seasoned veterans, when we discuss things, it really is by year 4 and 5 that things just naturally start occurring. That doesn't mean to say you're not going to have great moments in your first couple games that you feel like, hey, I got this. But it really is a pretty long learning curve. And myself, Russell, Neil Ryan, Craig Poole, Brian Platts, you talk to any of the long-term veterans, Don Huber has the most games of anybody in our association will tell you he's still never had his perfect game. And that is what makes us great, is that constant seeking to get better and improve. I myself am a lifetime learner, and I invite you all to have that type of mentality as well. There's always something we can be learning to get better and improve our product on the field. Our customers are threefold, and those who have been in these annual meetings a few years have heard me say this before. But our customer base are the players and the coaches, but there's a third customer base. That's your fellow officials. And how we make people feel when we're around them is very important to building the brotherhood strong in a culture where people feel respected, energized, and excited to head out on the field and tackle the challenges that only our crew can tackle. And when you have the trust of the brotherhood, it's very important, because as all of these veterans around you will certainly tell you, there's only one group of people pulling for the officials, and that's your fellow officials on the field with you. 50% of the time, one coach is going to be disappointed. The other 50% of the time, one coach is going to be excited. So know that how we apply our craft as gentlemen with respect, not just to the game, the players and the coaches, but it also how we apply the craft to each other as individuals. So a little bit about our agenda tonight. I'm going to have Russell Dean give an update on our U.S. lacrosse membership numbers, as well as the independent contractor update. We are still missing information from a few of you. We are all adults. None of us are paid on the board. So gentlemen, if you could, please help us by getting that information in to Mr. Dean and making his life just a little bit easier. We're going to have an introduction, and I'm going to ask our friend Don Huber to introduce our rookies in the group. I think Neil also has a couple of rookies to introduce, and then finally Tom Johnson in the high desert. While we met you at the annual meeting, this will be a chance for you to also say hello to the group. And if you would, we'd like you to answer one question. How do you feel about going into this season, and what are you most excited about? Next on the agenda, Locke Chandler has prepared a video for us on getting ready physically for the season, stretching, getting our physical bodies ready while we prepare the mind. Russell will do our OLOA COVID-19 protocols for the season. And I have a bit of a story that will lead into that before getting into that training. We'll do a concussion refresher. We're going to analyze, deep dive into restarts, the new rule on restarts for the 2021 season. And Russell will close up his training with how we stay focused by talking to ourselves on the field and being mentally prepared. So gentlemen, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Dean to start us off with an update on USL memberships and independent contractor agreements.
Awesome. Thank you, Tom. Before we go to that, can you show me, I don't know, I'm talking about that, if you can go down and finish the roll. Just go like team 3.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
All right, real quick, couple important things. Right now, we're thinking about almost everybody has got their US lacrosse membership updated, except for 5 people. And what I'm going to do is I will send an email out to those folks and say, hey, please update or get this across current. Independent contractor forms are coming in. I've been logging them in, and I try to send an email back to you.
So George, hold on. George Spicer is saying that we can't hear anything at all. And that everybody's saying that. Could you pull that microphone right up to you, Russell? You can actually pull it right up onto your table.
Awesome.
We hear
let's do
you
it,
just
Pat.
fine, Tom.
How about me now?
Better.
Better?
No, George is still saying not great.
You must be using the microphone off your computer because this one shows muted.
Oh, let's try and,
Go ahead. So this must be good.
here we go. Hold
Yeah.
on. How about now?
That's Tom. This is Russ talking now. How do you hear me? Good, not good, fair.
They're all, we got Michael with a down thumb and Craig Poole with a yes thumb. Hey, George, we've been watching you the whole time. How's Russell?
How about I stand over here? Here's the microphone. This works if I talk like this. I think it's. Good.
Tom, it's Brooks. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So yeah, you're loud and clear, but he's like he's in the background.
Must be picking up your microphone then.
Try it now.
How about now? Test 1, 2, 3. Much better?
Yes,
All
yes,
right.
yes.
Good. I don't have to scream. So I don't want to scream all day. Good. All right. Independent contractor forms. We have the correct form linked to the website. So if you go to the OLOA website, that form will be linked there. You can print it out, sign it, scan it, take a picture of it, send it to me. Or if you're tech savvy and can sign it online, it's a PDF form. If you can do that, that's fine also. I've got about 50% of those forms turned in. Tests were about, I want to say 60, 65% not complete. So hopefully by the end of this week, everybody will get through the test. And I will have some more information on the independent contractor in my presentation later, especially how it deals with the OHSLA alert email system. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, but we'll go back to Tom to talk about, or Don, talk about their new officials.
Let's see.
All right, unmuted here.
Huber, I'm
Okay.
gonna put you up on the main screen.
All right.
If I can find you in 3 pages of scrolling.
And
I
yes,
hear
Mark-
you.
Yes, Mark, I do respond to when you get your test score.
There's Huber.
Well, my new guys are for this year, Tom Carney. You want to start with Tom? Can you unmute yourself, Tom, and tell us a little
Sure.
bit about yourself?
Yeah, you hear me, guys?
Perfect.
Okay, terrific. Tom Carney, rookie out of Portland, Oregon. I think the question was what's got me excited about this year. My son was a senior at Lincoln last year and missed out on his senior year, his 4th varsity year of playing lacrosse. And so what I'm really looking forward to is being a part of the celebration of kids being able to go back out in the field and play lacrosse. And if I can help them have a great time and be safe doing it, then I've done my job well. So that's really what I'm looking forward to.
Excellent. Next would be Jack Shun. Are you around there, Jack?
Yep.
Tom will get to you eventually here. There you are. Perfect.
So my name is Jack. I'm 19. I live in Canby. I'm most excited to get back on the field at any capacity because, like Tom's son, I didn't get to play my senior year, and so I'm just excited to get back on the field at all. So yeah.
Perfect. Thank you for joining us, Jack. Appreciate it. Next would be Ian Thompson. Hopefully you're there, Ian.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Tom will find you. Just give him a shot.
Okay. I'm also in the Portland, Oregon area. I'm a transplant from the East Coast, so I'm really looking forward to getting back into a sport that has been since childhood and just holds a near and dear place to my heart.
You'll love us. We got other people that talk funny. Yeah, good to have you on board, Ian. We're looking forward to it. I don't know if Dave Voss is here. Dave, are you? I don't. Oh, perfect. Dave Voss.
Yeah, I look forward mostly just to seeing the kids out there playing again. It's been a long time since a lot of them been on the field. for any sport, let alone lacrosse. So it'd just be nice to see him outside getting active again. So that's what I look forward to.
Oh, great. It's good to have you on board, David. We can go through a couple of my rookies from last year that really are semi-veterans. So why don't we do, is that okay, Tom? We got time for that?
Yeah, please do. We want the veterans group to know who's coming
You
in
bet.
that they haven't seen before.
All right, Dave Shireman, you want to start with Dave?
Sure thing. Dave Shireman, this is my second rookie year, I guess you'd say. Looking forward to actually trying it out after going through rookie training a couple times and want to see some actual games now.
Very good. Perfect. And then we have Dave Christensen. Are you there, Dave?
Yes. Hi, Don. Thanks.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm excited and prepared and ready to get back on the field and run and enjoy some outdoor sports.
How'd you get interested in this?
My son graduated 2 years ago. He played for 6 years or so. And so I've been watching from the sideline, and it's going to be exciting for me to be on the field in the middle of all these guys and making sure they
Perfect.
stay active.
Perfect. Let's see. Is Jared there? Jared Mitchell? Are you on?
I
Oh,
am.
you are. Perfect. Tom will find you. Hang on a second.
Can you guys see me? Am I front and center?
There you are, Bubba.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm Jared Mitchell. I'm here in the Portland, Oregon area, and yeah, I'm originally from the East Coast. Yeah, I grew up played through high school, through college, and then coached a little bit during grad school and university. So looking at turning over the next chapter of my my lacrosse, whatever you want to call it, and take a stab at reffing. So yeah, really looking forward to just being a part of that and part of this group. So
Perfect. Thank you, Jared. Look forward to seeing you out on the field again. Is Joshua here? I can't remember Josh's last name. God dang it. He's going to George Fox University. Are you on, Josh? What is it?
Simpson.
Yes, Josh Simpson. Are you on, Josh? Probably not. And then we had Blake Lovelace last year, but unfortunately Blake has gone to the other side, to the WOLA up there in Washington. And because he's out of school right now, but I think he's going to be coming back. And so we'll hopefully have him for next year. Smitty's lucked out and got him. So
We'll take him, Donnie.
yeah, I hear you. That's okay, Brian. Thank you. I want him back.
I'm still with you, Don. That's all right.
I know. Okay, I think that's about it, at least from what I can remember, for the rookies last year and the year before. If I've left it, oh, Chase, there you are. Sorry about that. Chase is a semi-veteran rookie. Chase actually probably refereed what, 15 years ago? And he was also the coach at Lake Oswego High School for probably 5-6 years. Okay, can't hear you. Yeah. So anyhow, but Chase Brand, look forward to getting him back on the field. It will be great. Chase is going to be a good official and going to love having him. I wish we could hear you though. Yeah. Can you unmute yourself? Should be at the top of the screen. There you go.
Everyone. Yeah. This is actually my 45th year being involved in lacrosse as a coach, player, parent, referee. But I've always liked refereeing for some strange reason, and I think it's a great way to contribute to the sport. So look forward to getting back on the field, and it's also a great place to watch a great game and be part of it.
Exactly. That ought to do it, Tommy. Back on mute.
All right, and I believe Neil Reinen has a couple officials to introduce as well. Mr. Reinen.
Hello, everybody. I don't have any true rookies. Like Don said, I've got a couple semi-veteran rookies. Is Aaron Carroll there?
Hey, I'm here.
Okay. Tell them about yourself and your road this way.
Well, let's see. This is my my second year in a row of being a rookie. Tried to get on the field last year. Obviously, COVID hit. Neil, Derek Scroggin, Rick Roki, all those guys kind of asked me to come out and decided to give it a try. Been officiating football for 20 plus years, so thought why not add another sport? I'm pretty sure my wife gets tired of me being home, so gives me an excuse to go out and run around and have some fun.
Awesome. Yeah. And Aaron comes just like Rick and myself and a lot of other guys with absolutely no knowledge of lacrosse. So he's a newbie, and he's working really hard to get the COVID last year really, sucked for a lot of the guys that, didn't have any. He did one scrimmage and that was it. So it'll be good to get him out in a game situation. So if you meet Aaron, treat him well. Is Nick David out there?
I am present.
All right. Nick started in 2014 with us, was in a couple of years, and then ended up going down to Arizona, and he just came back. So tell us some more about yourself.
Sure. I've been doing lacrosse for 2 seasons, as Neil alluded to. I did a couple tournaments over in Sisters. That's some great experience if you ever get a chance to do the Sally tournament. Hopefully they kick those back on. That was a lot of games.
Yeah, and a lot of things afterwards, right?
You betcha. It's just part of the, as Tom alluded to, part of the camaraderie. You just get around, your fellow officials and smoke and joke or whatever you want to call it. But it was a good time, and a lot of me and Neil and Aaron, we've had a couple off weekends or on Sundays, did a couple training periods, and it's like riding a bike. It's starting to come back quickly again, and a lot of muscle memory coming back, going through our mechanics. So it wasn't totally new to me, but it has been a good 7-year stretch without lacrosse. But I have been doing football for, I think this is my 16th year of football. So I do have that game sideline awareness management, whatever you want to call it.
Awesome. So both Nick and David are state championship football officials, so they understand how games should be played. They understand mechanics really well. It's the lacrosse, especially for Aaron, that's going to be a learning curve. So we're looking forward to that.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, Tom, I did forget one person. One of my rookies from last year actually did a scrimmage game with him on Sunday. His name is Paul Stevens. Most of you club guys that ref club ball will know Paul. So if you could pop him up there, that would be great, Tom. There you are, Paul. Sorry about that, brother. Didn't mean to leave you out.
That's all right. Most of you guys all know me anyways from coaching and playing. So yeah, my son started playing when he was 2nd grade. I ended up coaching in 3rd grade and all the way through high school. And then I started playing about 6 years ago. So I just love playing the game and wish it would have been around when I was his age. So
amen.
I look forward to getting started. It was nice running around the other day. Look forward to getting some more games in.
Perfect. Thank you. I think that's everybody on my end, Tom.
Okay, Tom Johnson from the desert.
Well, hello, everybody, and good evening. It's nice to see everybody here. We have 2 returning from last year that were rookies. Michael Busain. I think that's right. Michael, you out there?
Yep. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I'm most excited to get back out there and learning the game from this other side. I hope to get out there to ref. I'm going to be helping coach at Ridgeview, but I'm just here to learn as much as I can and get the certification and be as knowledgeable as I can.
Great, Michael. We look forward to working with you.
Yeah, thanks.
And the other one is Michael Paul. He's been official of previous sports. You out there, Michael? I don't think he's on tonight. He's been doing soccer, and I don't remember how long, but he is. They were both rookies last year. Got to train, but didn't get to do any games. We did one scrimmage before COVID hit and shut us down. So looking forward to get on the field with these guys. And the other one, the new one, is Chris. How you doing, Chris?
Our comms live.
Yeah.
I was having issues. I'm good. How are you guys? Sorry, a lot going on. I was kind of reading some work emails. I'm guessing the standard explain who I am, where I came from sort of deal. So I'm Chris, come from the Tahoe Basin area. I've been involved for about 13 years, coaching, officiating, playing, kind of in a sense, veteran official, level 2 certified, all that fun jazz. Been yelled at to get my level 3 for years, but there's a conflict of interest with all that because of I was still coaching involved at the university, and then they would have to commute me to the Bay Area to do college games. So I was like, not doing it. I'm up here though. I'm sure that you guys will bug me a little bit to follow through with that, because Gary Alabaster will probably make sure that he reaches out to you guys and tells you he's a level 3, and I'm going to be like, shit. So that's me.
You're on the hook, brother. We got
I know. But I also do coach and involved in a lot of nonprofits. So I'm going to try to stay away from trying to coach for a little bit of time, at least for now, unless the Central Oregon high desert area needs us to start some programs. I'm very good at that. I've done a few of those. So I could potentially help grow the sport here in terms of teams. So
No, that all sounds good. We look forward to working with you and having you out there to help us out. Like, looking forward to the experience. I think that's all I got, Tom.
Right. Let me get schedule. This can only go so quick on removing spotlights and everything else. All right. Now we'll hit this magic button and slowly become. There we go. All right, gentlemen, before I turn it over to Russell, I want to make you
Just lost you, Tom.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Now.
Oh, boy. Our board might have to look into hiring a tech firm here. There are 3 tournaments to be aware of that you can jot down on your schedule on tonight's notes. The Sally tournament is May 1st and 2nd in Sisters. At this point, that is still going forward. I am in a conversation with Chad at Parks and Rec just to confirm they do have some constraints. As you know, part of that tournament is allowing teams to stay on the premises of Sisters High School, and that is not permittable during COVID. So we're going to get you an update on that. But at this point, we would like you to have those 2 days still on your calendar. The next date will be the Hot Shots tournament, June 19th and 20th in Bend. That is going to be a mixed tournament of high school as well as men's open. So those of you who are interested in getting into officiating some of the upper divisions and the like, please get a hold of myself regarding that tournament. We'll be scheduling for that. And then, of course, the big tournament is July 16th through 18th. That's the Oregon Lacrosse Classic. Ryan Powell sold this tournament to our friends at Adrenaline. And so Adrenaline is going to be taking this moving forward. So certainly have another huge gathering. And then finally, there's going to be an opportunity if people are interested in traveling out of state for a tournament. We will be in charge of assigning The Yakima tournament, Yakima Invitational in September. That's the 24th, 25th, and 26th. So we know there's other opportunities. Ostruck will again host their winter tournament in December. For those of you who have not had the opportunity to run tournaments outside of the season, they are a heck of a lot of fun and a great opportunity to get some reps in. Usually very, very competitive environments, which is oftentimes enjoyable. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Dean to begin our information, starting with COVID. No, oh, actually, I wanted to start with a story. Those of you who are NILOA officials certainly got this email today. There was a video turned in of a lacrosse crew, and we're going to keep the names and the state of the individuals where they reside free of public scrutiny, but there were a three-man crew, I'll just say this, on the East Coast, who were filmed not wearing their masks and gaiters throughout the duration of a game. We know that video evidence doesn't lie. And one of the things, the challenges, was the officiating crew all came together and realized we've all been vaccinated. You've been vaccinated, I've been vaccinated. If you've been vaccinated, I've been vaccinated. All three of us have been vaccinated. Well, obviously we don't need to wear masks. Gentlemen, I want to be just real clear before even Russell goes through the outlines, unequivocally, we will be in masks during the 2021 season. If you've been vaccinated, you will be in a mask. If every kid in the arena, every adult, anything, we are wearing a mask. And that is part of the stipulation in our partnership with the OHSLA. So I did receive a few inquiries from member officials asking, hey, Tom, I've been vaccinated. Does this still apply to me? 100%. So let's not put each other in a bad spot. Let's listen to Russell's how we're going to proceed with COVID-19 policies, including mask wearing, and respect that and know that's our duty. So with that, Russ, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you, Tom. All right, let's see if we can pull up the PowerPoint and get that started and get the right.
Oh gosh, this could be a fun one.
Go down to the PowerPoint on the bottom. Think. All right, and hit that.
Okay.
And now you should be able on your computer find the Zoom meeting, share screen.
Here we go.
And no. Go back to share screen.
Stop share screen.
You want should be an extended display.
There we go.
While you're waiting, Tom, can we put the tournament dates on the website page, please?
Sure.
Perfect. That'd be great. I saw people in the chat bar wondering.
Okay, that's sharing screen one. If you look on our other monitor, let's see what we're sharing. We're trying to get the presentation shared to everybody. That's takes a second. It's on there. Oh, you close it? Okay. Presentation mode. That looks like we want to see. Okay, good. We're seeing the presentation. Okay, this is our annual training presentation. Let's go to the next slide. Let's see what we got for our schedule tonight. Okay, COVID protocols, concussion refresher are exciting topics. Talk about restarts, and then as Tom said, we're staying focused, talking to yourself. Next slide. Basically, on the Oregon High School Lacrosse Association website, there is a COVID information links, bunch of information regarding COVID and protocols and facial protection guidelines, return to play guidelines, information regarding COVID and how we're proceeding with playing. You can go to the next slide. Let's go. All right. This is basically what's going to happen. During the game, we are going to wear masks. During dead ball play, put your mask up. During live ball play, we realize that it is hard to run with a mask on. It's hard to blow your whistle with a mask on. But for what we do and for to understand what football is doing is during live ball play, they're wearing it whenever practical. But if you have to blow your whistle, you probably won't be wearing your mask at that time. If you have to run into a scrum of players or separate players or go in and call a goal or during a face-off, they're wearing your mask. Our masks will be supplied by the officials. I think everybody has their preference of what kind of mask they want. But the one stipulation is the outer layer must be black. So if you like those white N95 masks, great, wear one, but put a black cover on it. And on that layer, we want no logos, words, symbols, slogans, etc. Basically take a Sharpie and black out the logos, symbols, words, slogans, etc. Even if it's just like a Nike swoosh or an Under Armour UA, or even some masks they got from Costco say 32 degree cool in dark gray letters, take a Sharpie, black all that out. That way we start to look a little more familiar or similar. Also carry a bunch of extra paper masks in your bag, unused ones. That way if your teammates, your crew forgets it, you'll have an extra mask. It's kind of like carrying an extra whistle or an extra timer in your bag. We're not going to use electronic whistles this year just because from what I understand, they don't work well. Important thing, before the season, get a mask, put it on, practice pulling it down to blow a whistle, practice running with it on, practice everything you can with a mask on and getting to your whistle. And a lot of our referees are football officials, and I believe the OSA has approved gaiters for football officials. As long as the OSA has approved those, we can use those. All right, pregame. Basically, you're gonna leave your car, you're gonna put your mask on. You walk onto the field. If the home team protocol requires you to have your temperature checked, please let them do that. It's part of this partnership we have with the OHSLA, with the teams, so the kids can play lacrosse. That's kind of the important thing that we're trying to get to. Let's get the kids on the field, let them play lacrosse. So you'll be wearing your mask effectively the whole time up until the first face-off. Coaches certification, okay, we're not going to have handshakes with the coaches, no fist bumps, no elbow bumps. Again, greet the coach cordially like you always do. We're going to wear a mask. The coach should be wearing a mask also. Typically, we want the R plus the coach will have their meeting. We want to have another official within hearing distance, and that's for this next question. For 2021, all goalies must have this NOXI ND200 certified chest protector. It's a new rule, and so we're going to ask the coach, Coach, are all your players legally equipped by rule, including a legal goalkeeper chest protector as required for the 2021 season? If the coach says, oh no, our goalies don't have it, you tell him, oh coach, you have until game time to get him wearing one. If he doesn't have one, we can't play the game. It's similar to if the coach says, no, my player's not equipped. Well, we can't play the game until your goalie is properly equipped. Now, the reason why we have a fellow official within hearing distance, let's just say the coach says, oh yeah, he is. And he gets hit in the chest and he has a heart condition and it's found out that the coach he didn't have the correct chest protector on. Well, because your fellow official heard the coach say yes, your liability goes way down. Now, I'm not a lawyer. You probably still could get sued, but at least you have a witness saying, hey, the coach said yes. It's just a protection thing for us. Let's go on the next slide. Meeting with the captains. Well, there's only one captain from each team instead of 3 or 4 or all the seniors. Again, officials and captains wear masks, no handshakes, fist bumps, elbow bumps. We'll have the regular coin toss for AP or goal to defend. We're not going to have any pregame equipment checks. No pregame meeting with the faceoff players. No lineup of the players at midfield. So at game time, the players just go directly to their positions. For faceoffs, Effectively, we're a quick and efficient face-off. We always strive to do that. It's going back to the same method we had a few years ago. We'll put the ball down on the ground, but in this case, we'll back away a couple steps. Excuse me. We'll instruct the players to go down for the face-off. We'll make sure they're aligned correctly. You know, hey, blue, move left. Get your head out of the neutral zone, et cetera, those kind of commands. Once the players are aligned, give the set command and then blow the whistle to start play. During this time, the helper referee, who's one of the either lead or trail referee, he'll have his mask on. For the most part, until you step away, please have your mask on. When you step away from players, pull your mask down, put your whistle in your mouth and get ready to blow the whistle. Next slide. Stick checks. During the game, if coach requests a stick check, yes, we have to do a stick check. Excuse me. You know, keep our plans short. That's what we try to do. Don't let the scrums drag on, especially now. Again, nothing good happens if you let your plans go too long. From what I understand, the players are supposed to wear masks during live ball play, which will be an interesting thing to enforce. Again, it's a technical foul similar to a mouth guard, but let's work on reminding the players, warning the players, involve the coaches. Let's not go straight to the technical foul. Let's make sure the kids know that they need to wear their mask. And don't let this distract you from the game. Don't be hunting for masks not on correctly. Because if you start hunting for that, you're going to miss the kid getting his head taken off with a cross check. And yes, there's no way you're going to know if he's wearing his mouth guard correctly. You may be able to see a weird bump in the mask that's kind of off center, saying, oh, it looks like a fish hook mouth guard, but it's going to be very hard. After the game, we're not going to shake hands. You know, sign the book, you know, sign in the first quarter, sign it when you talk to the table at the very beginning of the game. Once the game's over, gather your stuff and leave. If you want to have a post game, have it out in the parking lot away from everybody. You know, maintain 6 feet distance, wear your mask. You know, keep, you know, we want to be leaders and examples. So, you know, wearing your mask off the field all the way until you get in your car, then take it off is great. That kind of, anybody seeing us or anybody filming us, what will it show? It'll show, hey, the officials are trying to follow these COVID rules so the kids can play lacrosse. All right. All right, our favorite, concussion refresher time. The past few years, we've been showing this wonderful video that's probably, what, 15 years old?
Yeah, it's like 10.
Okay, 10 years old, you know.
I'll put it this way. Kelly Rabel was single there, married Paul Rabel, Kelly Berger, pardon me, married Paul Rabel and got divorced from Paul Rabel and has since remarried. That's how long this video is.
Okay, good. You know, and from this video, the common theme was when in doubt, sit them out. So what I did is go ahead and go to the next slide. I went on to the NFHSlearn.com, National Federation of High School Learn.com. A lot of good classes on that you can take online. And they had a very specific one called Concussion and Sports Training Course. It was put together by Dr. Mick Koester of he's a pediatric sports medicine specialist, and he's the chair of the NFHS Sports Medicine Advisory Committee. I also pulled stuff out of our 2020 rule book, which is also the 2021 rule book. In Appendix B talks about guidelines for concussion management. And also from the CDC website, they have a good page on Heads Up, which deals with concussions in sports. All right, all this information that you will see is direct from one of those three sources. I also had it just reviewed for consistency and correctness by two different doctors. Again, as officials, we are not medical professionals. Well, a couple of us are. One, but in general, it's not our job to diagnose a concussion or to tell the player he has a concussion. Our job, as we'll see later, is to recognize the signs and symptoms. But effectively, a concussion is a traumatic brain injury caused by a bump, blow, or jolt to the head, or by hit to the body that causes the head and brain to move back and forth. It's not limited to player-to-player contact, but can also occur when a player contacts a surface, the ground or the goal, or is hit on the head with the ball or the stick. This sudden movement can cause the brain to bounce around or twist in the skull, creating chemical changes in the brain and sometimes stretching and damaging brain cells. What might seem like a mild jolt or blow to the head or body can cause a concussion. If it's not identified early and cared for properly, it can lead to serious health issues in the player athlete. As officials, we need to know the signs of a suspected concussion and what to do if a concussion is suspected. And again, only a healthcare professional can diagnose a concussion. So there are signs of concussions and symptoms of a concussion. Signs are the behaviors and actions we see. That's what we'll typically observe. The symptoms is what the athlete feels. That's what we typically reported to the coach or medical professionals. So we'll go to the next slide, and here's the signs of the concussion. Now, all these are in the rule book in the back section that discusses concussions in Appendix B, I believe. You know, the ones we'll see mostly, he's dazed or stunned. You know, is he confused? Is he forgetful? You know, he doesn't remember where he is or who his opponent is. He doesn't know what the score is. He's clumsy. You know, I think we've seen these videos, concussion videos of kids getting hit, and they get up and they are staggering around and fall back down or just don't know what they're doing. He's slow to respond to questions. Hey, number 14, you okay? Anyway, I don't know. Things like that. You know, his mood changes. And he can't recall what happened before the hit or the fall, or he starts vomiting. Now, if he starts vomiting, that's pretty serious. But the key takeaway is most concussions occur without a loss of consciousness. And less than 5% of students actually lose consciousness due to a concussion. So the player doesn't have to be down, knocked out cold on the ground to be thought he has a concussion. All right, this statement here is from the OSAA Contact Sports Plan. And it's a lot of words here, but the first sentence is the important one. An official shall remove an athlete from a contest when the athlete exhibits signs, symptoms, or behaviors consistent with concussion due to an observed or suspected blow to the head or body. Okay, so what we're going to do is effectively call an official's timeout. We're going to tell the player, hey, number 14, why don't you head to your bench, walk over there with him, say, hey, coach, he got hit pretty hard. He was staggering around. He was kind of glassy-eyed. He was fumbling with his words when I was talking with him. He needs to be looked at by your training staff. And then we're done. Then we're done with that part. Then it becomes the coach and the training staff's responsibility to care for that athlete. Okay, so effectively, if he shows signs to make you think he may have a concussion, remove the athlete from the game right away. You know, always side on the side of safety. When in doubt, sit them out. So after you remove the student with a possible concussion from play, the decision about the return to play is a medical decision and can only be made by an appropriate healthcare professional. So if you send a player off and the next quarter he comes back in, that's the coach and the healthcare professional's responsibility to make sure he's okay. Observe him. If he still seems kind of dazed or still not all there, send him back out again. Take him out of the game. Most of the time, the coaches are very adamant that if a player comes out and looks dazed, he will sit them out. They'll take away his helmet, they'll take away his stick, they'll sit him on the end of the bench, and they'll observe him for the game. It's not something that they mess around with.
Hey, Russell?
Yes.
I've been using this for years. I just tell the coach, I suspect this player has a concussion. I don't beat around the bush. I mean, I'm not diagnosing this kid, but I suspect he has a concussion. that pretty much says it. I don't have to tell him what his symptoms are unless I'm asked.
Yeah.
I would rather be really clear with the coach why he's being sent off. So there can be no doubt later on if something happens.
Yeah.
And the coach said, I didn't know what he meant.
Good point. Yeah, the words should be, Coach, he's exhibiting the signs of a concussion, and here are the signs that I see.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
Okay. Like I said, on this nfhslearn.com, there's a concussion in sports course. It's free, takes about an hour to complete it. It's optional right now. If you want to go look at it, but we may be requiring it in future years just because it's a really good course. It deals with both recognition of the signs, symptoms of concussion, and then treatment and helping the player get back to the game. And when you're done, you get this very cool certificate. So, but that should be our concussion training for the year. Do you have any questions? Actually, there's still more in the slides. If you want to go through.
Oh, yeah, I'm aware.
Okay.
We're gonna take, there were a number of questions I got text. Okay, can I have that mic? So, picked up. So gentlemen, I'm gonna do the best I can to go through what I'm seeing here. Scott Weir, assuming no stick checks either. That's correct. The only time we're doing stick check if it is coach requested or you personally see something egregious. Those are the 2 times that we will be doing a stick check. There was a face shield mentioned in last night's meeting. Face shields are not NFHS approved, so they are not allowed in high school lacrosse in Oregon. You may see them in tournaments, Chris, but you will not see them on high school fields. If a young person enters the field with a face mask attempting to have that cover for an actual mask in reference to COVID, it has not been accepted by the OHSLA board, and they will stand by us on that. There is no COVID approved face mask shield substitute. Correct, Locke. There is no substitute. Not used, correct. Face shield, correct. Ken, can anyone recommend a source for decent blast masks? Yes, Russell will publish that and get that out to the membership via email. If you guys are answering, Tom Hopper, Members Association, Community Large, vary in their feelings regarding efficacy. Would you care to recommend a manner in which, okay, I would argue we do not vary at all, TJ. Kids are required to wear face masks during the field, while on the field of play. We are not going to manage their benches for them, but a young person coming onto the field will be expected to comply and wear their face mask while they're in the field of play. Is it reasonable to think kids, like with their mask or mouthpiece, are going to be fumbling them around from time to time? Yes. But we are 100% supportive of the OHSLA policy. By the way, this is not an official's policy. This is policy of the OHSLA that all student athletes will be wearing masks during the lacrosse game. I want to address another piece of this that I had asked me by one of our members, emailed me a great question. Hey, kid keeps adjusting his mouthpiece over and over, pulling it down, pulling it up. The first time we're going to remind them to wear their mouthpiece. Second time you may have an opportunity you feel to grab them if you feel it's only if it's appropriate and they are truly neglecting the intent of wearing the face mask. What we don't want is to have a situation where we are overstepping our role as officials. So our role is to enforce the safety mechanism that the OHSLA has asked us to deploy. That is the requirement that kids are wearing a face mask during a lacrosse game. If you run by the bench at West Albany High School and one kid is at the end of the bench who's tying his shoe and his mask is down a little, that's probably not where we want you to get involved. Want to be facing outwards, be looking at the field, players wearing their masks, certainly. If you notice a situation where a full bench is not complying, that is when you would address the coach regarding the issue. Please make sure your whole crew is aware that you're doing that. It does not help for one official to go over, address it, and then not make sure his fellow crewmates are aware that the situation was addressed. Your job is to enforce the rule, much like mouthpieces. Is there a little flexibility? Not by the letter of the rule. The OHSLA has asked us to make sure the kids are wearing them the entire time they're in play. This is a risk litigation piece, of course, for the OHSLA. So do your best. Please be kind and be a little bit personable when you do it. Are there going to be opportunities where a kid has it pulled down over his nose where we can correct a behavior? Yes. If you're seeing repetitive behavior by the same player, we need to address that. And we have been asked by the league directly to do just that.
And one thing, if you have a team that is consistently not wearing face masks or their bench isn't wearing them or something like that, you can add that to your game report. The R adds that to the game report under probably under sportsmanship or something of that nature, because that will go directly to the OHSLA commissioners.
Yeah, and I want to make sure you gentlemen know you have full league support in addition to your association support on this issue. Paul Schlesinger, Commissioners Schlesinger and Gruen are heading this up for the OHSLA. And if they have reports that teams are not complying, we aren't going to have to worry about that one bit. They will get compliance. This was a unanimous vote by the coaches to have this deployed this season. Brian Kuda, face mask must cover the nose and mouth. Correct. The full nose and mouth. Covering your mouth does not prevent the spread of spray and the like of COVID. It has to be a nose covering. So we want to, and then you ask, still technical foul if worn improperly? It is. One thing I would ask, Brian, is let's use our first time with an individual to remind them to get their mask up. So let's deploy our resources correctly. And if we see repetitive behavior by the same player, we need to address that in the form of a technical. Now, if this same player repeatedly has been asked first round, asked very harshly second round, third round, we banged him once with a conduct. Now we're banging him with a second conduct. At some point, much like face-off violations, that will turn into an unsportsmanlike conduct. So the same player receiving a third misconduct for a mouthpiece, that we expect, gentlemen, will be an unsportsmanlike conduct, full-time, 1 minute. Not the first occurrence and not the second. The third occurrence will turn into a full 1 minute time serving penalty. That is somebody who's just blatantly said, I don't care about my team, I don't care about you, and obviously I don't care about myself and my health.
Hey, Tom.
Yes, Neil.
I know in football we've been using this, and I don't know how often, I haven't heard of really anybody penalize anybody for delay a game yet. We just send the kid off. If he's not complying and he's repeatedly being asked, we just send him off. And I don't know what you and Russ think about that. It definitely, that pretty much fixes things, because the kid goes to the sideline, tells the coach, asks what's going on. He's not wearing his mouthpiece or face mask. That really takes care of it. The coach lights the players up, and no harm, no foul. We don't penalize anybody, and that seems to be working okay. You know, I'd hate for us to get to that unsportsmanlike, the non-releasable unsportsmanlike, but
That's a good point, Neil, and that's part of the ramp that we're going to try to use. Involve the coaches. You know, if number 14 is having a problem with his face mask, tell them, hey, coach, help us out. Number 14 is having a problem with his face mask. Can you chat with him and have him put it back on correctly?
Hey, Russ, can I add something?
Yeah.
Hey, Russ, Neil just said it completely perfect. I have been doing 28 to 30 soccer game, varsity and JV, and the boys and the girls, they doing the great job keeping the mask on themselves. As Ross said, just ask the coach to help. We don't want to penalize. I have not shown a yellow card to any players. All I do, keep the mask up. Keep the mask up. Let's be safe. And as Neil said, the kids doing a great job themselves. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Barry, for that insight.
Okay, next question. Are we allowed to wear gaiters? Yes, Gary, gaiters are allowed so long as they are 100% black. Jesse, are there specifications for the mask athletes must wear? Jesse, we are not the ones responsible for that, only that they are worn properly. The mask will be, that is a league issue. So long as the young person's face is covered, nose and mouth, that is what we are concerned with. If you personally note something that really bugs you, I'd ask that you put it in the game report afterwards or talk to your R. If you were the R, I would put it in the game report and shoot me a text message note. Is there official OLA written policy on masks? Dave Schultz. Yes, we will have that added to our website, Dave, that just clarifies everything that Russell just described. All these meeting PowerPoints will be on our website. Bob Weir, in my experience, if you dress with a coach and repetitive violation of technical will be, yep, I agree, Bob. That's similar to what Beirut said. Have the coaches help us. Locke, coaches, great minds. Yes, yes, yes. Players have been practicing with them. That is correct. All lacrosse practices for players, they've been required to wear them thus far. So in the game situation, this won't be like they were handed a new pair of shoes they've never worn before. Benji, will COVID-related rules be changed as CDC guidelines change? Benji, that would only be answered by the OHSLA. We are currently describing how our rules are set right now. The association would make you aware of any changes. Those would not come from the health authority or anyone else. They would come directly from us after hearing from the OHSLA league that we serve. Neil, you had one more thing?
Yeah, you were talking about, what kind of face mask. One thing we saw at the beginning of the year, these kids would be wearing just a floppy face mask that was tied to the inside of their football helmet face mask. It was technically covering their nose and mouth, but it wasn't doing any good. So the OSAA came out and said, it does have to be a tight fitting mask that covers. So, I mean, from Jesse's question there, I think it was Jesse, what kind of mask does it have to be? It definitely has to cover both the nose and mouth, but it also has to be somewhat tight fitting.
And Chris, finally, to your comment, and then we're going to jump back into Ross's presentation. Chris, your verbiage you would use is our mask policy is in accordance with the OHSLA, which is the league itself. Since we're not a high school varsity sport, you would refer them to the league policy, the OHSLA. All right. Mr. Dean, you ready to jump back into some PowerPoint? Let's see if I can pull this off again.
Well, why don't you put me back on the camera real quick if you can. And then zoom in a little bit. Masks. Now, I think as far as a mask goes, you need to decide what's going to be most effective for you and what you're most comfortable wearing. And a lot of people like to wear the N95 white masks. I've gotten a few samples I've bought. This is a nice Under Armour sports mask. They say it's good for jogging and all that. Of course, it has an Under Armour logo that has to be blacked out with Sharpie. It works good. It gets the problem with masks and glasses, you'll find out that you will not be able to see half the time because your glasses are fogged. I went out and got contacts so I can see during games. It's just, I don't want to mess with glasses and fogging. I got another mask. This one I got off Amazon. It's a 3-layer mask plus an insertable filter inside of it. I think it's pretty good. I've worn this a couple times and it's quite a good mask. It's got a cotton fabric inside that does a good job of absorbing all the moisture you breathe out. I'm sure Locke, our resident doctor, will agree that you exhale quite a bit of moisture when you are running. These little guys here I got from Costco. They're a single layer Dry fit type fabric is their Costco 32-degree cool mask. This would be a great mask to put over your N95 white mask or any other color mask you happen to like to wear. You can wear this one as a cover. It's very thin, very lightweight, but it shouldn't be worn alone because it's only a single layer. There are also black paper masks that are just, one-time use and to throw them out. You can buy a bunch of those for the season and use those. But I'll provide some links to basically some of these masks I've got, but ultimately it's your decision on what kind of filtration you want and you need. And the only requirement we have is that the external layer is black.
100% black.
Yep. So even this guy here, this little thing from Costco, where is it? It's there's this one I blacked out. Now this one's got a 32-degree. You can see the logo down here. Basically, take your Sharpie like you do with your shoes, color out the logo, make it all black. That way we don't stand out. Again, our purpose as officials is to be as invisible as possible on the field and only assert ourselves when necessary. All right, back to.
Can I clarify one thing real quick, like Russ?
Yeah.
When we are running, we can have our mask down around our chin. It's only when we stop, blow the whistle, give directions, or in a scrum that we have to pull the mask up.
If you are running and you can wear your mask, do that. If you can't, I think it's okay to pull it down. But once you get to a settled situation, especially with the trail referee, and even single lead, you're not running around a whole lot in those settled situations. Try to bring your mask up so we can present that example of always wearing masks.
Perfect.
But again,
Thank you very much.
What you have to be comfortable with.
I'm gonna just tell you in real time. I had this firsthand 2 weeks ago in Boise. You get in 3 or 4 transitions back and forth the full length, guys. It's going to really hamper, and especially in the high desert at some of our at elevation, we need you to breathe and be healthy first and foremost. And if you find yourself getting sick due to not getting enough oxygen flow in, you need to bring your mask down a little when you're in a safe situation where you're not around kids. But ideally, we want your mask on in most of the time. We realize in a full sprint, it may not make sense for your mask to be on, and no one at the league is out to get you for that. We need to play it smart and lead by example. Then when we get settled, we pull the mask up and the like. This isn't going to be a situation where the league's able to come to me and say, hey, here's a video, I got you. What we're looking for is active participation and understanding of what we're trying to accomplish. Be safe, be smart about it, apply the rules as best you can. But if you're in a situation where you're in a huge transition or you're just heading back the other way after a big sprint, it may not be healthy enough for your body to miss out on the oxygen you need. We don't need people collapsing on the field due to having a mask on during a sprint. So use your common sense. When you slow down, you pull it up. Those of you in football, I know you're not a sport that does a ton of running, but you've had experience that it can work and make sure to keep people safe. And optically, and really the bigger point is keeping yourself from being exposed to what, you're sitting on a field with 22 young people who may not be as responsible as you each and every day. Questions, James Just. Yes, we originally said we were going to issue masks. We heard from a number of you that you have unique fits, you like different types of masks and the like. James, rather than fight everybody or anything, we said, hey, let's just accomplish the bigger goal. If you're wearing a mask and you can put a black outing over it or buy a black mask yourself, that's what we're going to be supportive of. Ken, Alvin, Fox 40 with a whistle clip inside, sure. As long as you have a mask on and can blow a whistle, Ken, you're good to go. George, yes, you are correct. Electronic whistles are not permitted this season. Masks are going to be provided, yes, Shireman, yep. Okay, so that's where we're at on mass. Ready to dive back in?
Ready to dive back in.
Okay,
All right.
now hold on.
Okay.
I can remember how to, now I can do this. Now I do this, now I do this, and now I do this.
Tom is an expert at this now.
Oh, better from
Again, a lot of, excuse me, a lot of these rules, of course, there are really no new rules for 2021. These are all 2020 rules that unfortunately we did not get to practice and put into play. I think one of the, and throughout these 3 sessions we're going to have, we'll dive into the rules, but tonight I just want to go through this one rule fairly quickly. It's a, if you've done college games, you've done this rule for a couple of years now. But last year we talked about in depth also during our training, but it's effectively restarts. Previous years, we used to sit, tell the defender to get 5 yards away and wait for him and count him. And if he doesn't do it, throw a delay game foul against him. Well, the rules committee said, hey, we want this game to be sped up. That's the idea. Keep the game moving, keep it flowing. Don't have a lot of dead ball time. So the rules changed. It said play can be restarted when a defensive player is within 5 yards of the player in possession of the ball. If the defensive player, 1, allows the player in possession of the ball a direct path to the goal and does not defend the player in possession of the ball until the player reaches a distance of 5 yards from the defending player. If the defensive player does not allow that direct path to the goal, or he actively defends the player without gaining that 5-yard distance, it becomes a technical foul, flag down, slow whistle at the time. Go to the next. Again, here's the idea is we don't wait for the defensive player to get 5 yards away. Again, the restart location, approximate location, we've always done that, but make sure there's no advantage gain. There's no running restarts. That offensive player can't pick up the ball and start sprinting down the field. If he does that, you bring him back, stop him. They lose that advantage of a fast restart, get everybody set up, and then go. Again, we should be ready for quick restarts, but not pants on fire. In other words, let's not have the game so crazy at the restart that we don't know what's going on. Let's make sure we understand, where the ball is going, who has the ball, make sure we're all in good position. But let's work on getting those restarts really quick. Again, you're going to hear players yell, I'm ready, or coach, we're ready. Well, that's nice. We're ready when we blow the whistle, but then we also do not want to be the reason for the delay. All right, high alert situations. All right, restart after a face-off violation. Both face-off players, they decide they don't run off the field, but one face-off player picks the ball and the other player stands right in front of him waving his stick. Okay, there's a violation there. Make sure that face-off player gets out of that path to the goal. We have a crease violation. All right, here we're gonna have the goalie pick up the ball in the crease, and the offensive or the former offensive player who was in the crease is gonna be standing on the outside of the crease. Make sure that player is not waving his stick around trying to defend the goalie. Near midfield, we've always said, if you're going to restart on the defensive half of the field, restart on the 46-yard line, not the 45. Because if you think about the 3, 4, 5 triangle, now both offensive players have to be 3 yards off that path that the player is going to be running. And they can't stand directly in front of him at the midline. End line restarts. Again, both players run quickly to the ball. You award the ball, the player steps on the field, and the other player hasn't gotten back far enough yet. Be ready, be high alert for those. All right. Now, this is a simple one. B1 is within 5 yards of A1. Restart A1 throws a pass. B1 tips the pass. This is pretty simple. It's going to be a delay game foul because he was defended. Flag down, so slow whistle. Even though the ball is in the air, this is one of those oddball ones. It's kind of like goalie interference. Even though the ball is in the air, if the goalie's follow through hits the player, it's still a play on. But this is going to be a flag down at this point because the foul occurred at the restart when the player had possession. It was within 5 yards. This is an exception. It wouldn't be a play on, it'd be a flag down. But again, B1 has to actively try to defend the player. All right, this is the other one that seems odd, but it's part of the rules is that, B1 is basically running parallel to A1 on the restart. They never gain that 5-yard distance. And he's effectively taking away passing lanes from A1, and he's affecting A1's path down the field. Again, this is defending again. Even though there's never any contact, he's still affecting A1's play, taking away an advantage or disadvantaging A1. Again, technical fouls are all about the principle of advantage, disadvantage. All right. All right, B1 is between A1 and the goal within 5 yards. Whistle, A1 takes a shot and B1's body blocks a shot. Well, because B1 is in that path to the goal, he's effectively defending. So this one will become a delay game on B1 for not giving up the path to the goal. All right, here's one. Restart. A1 goes back to pass and the ball rolls out the back of his stick. We've seen this happen. Doesn't happen a lot, but again, these oddball situations will happen. And now if you know what to do, well, effectively now that ball is loose. A1 no longer has possession of the ball. So now B1 can go and either play man ball against A1 or go pick up the loose ball without getting the 5 yards. This is okay because the player that restarted is no longer in possession. Unlike the pass play we talked about before, because he's actively defending that pass. Next situation, very similar. B1 scoops the ball, runs past A1, instant contact. But again, A1 drops the ball, hits, no longer has possession of the ball. And then, so for our next one, go next slide. Let's see. And here's one where B1 is close to A1, but allows a clear path to goal. He doesn't actively defend A1. A1 passes the ball to A2. Then A2 passes the ball back to B1, and B1 now starts defending A1 or tries to block that pass. In this case, it's legal because the offensive player that restarted is no longer in possession of the ball. Okay, here's one where B1's trying to back up, and A1 keeps moving towards B1, preventing him from giving up the 5 yards. This is all prior to the whistle. At this point, A1 loses the quick restart. Okay, he basically gave up his advantage because he was trying to either draw B1 into a penalty or wasn't stationary at the restart. Get the players back to the proper spot, tell B1 to move back 5 yards, and then restart play. All right, here's one, B1's within 5 yards of A1 and A is in direct path to the goal, or B allows a direct path to the goal. After the whistle, A1 advances towards B1 and makes contact. All right, in ruling A, it's going to delay a game, obviously, because B1 didn't give the direct path to goal and was within 5 yards. In B, A1 decided to go lose his advantage and go try to gain a draw penalty. So there's no foul on B1. But in either case, if A1 decides just to plow over B1, it can be unnecessary roughness on A1. And that's always been in the rules that you can't plow over a stationary player. This one I had to think about, and I was going through this rule change. This one came up and I thought, well, wait a second. What's happening here? Goalie B1 makes a save, okay? A1 standing just outside the crease, within 5 yards of B1 and blocks B1's outlet pass, but does not contact B1 or his stick. Now, if you think about this one, it's a legal play because it's not a restart situation. It's still live ball. And as long as A1 is outside the crease and does not contact B1 or a stick, it's not a penalty. All right. Even though we try to get quick restarts, there are times when we will delay the restart. It's kind of, the offensive players must be 5 yards away from their teammate. They can't huddle around and play the, who has the hot potato, who has the ball, let's trick everybody and now let's all break and run away. They have to be 5 yards away, make sure you know who has the ball, make sure you identify who has the ball in the restart.
What would that look? Would that be a gentleman, move 5 yards, 5 yards?
Yes. Again, the goalkeeper still gets 5 seconds to get back in the crease. So if the goalkeeper runs down to midfield and drops the ball and you have a loose ball technical and You're going to restart with the team heading back. Well, the goalkeeper still gets his 5 seconds to get back to the crease. Again, within 5 yards of the substitution area, bring the guy in 5 yards from that area. Again, the player possession the ball starts running downfield. They stop, staccato whistle, get them back, tell them, hey, you got to be stationary. One time we kind of allow this is that start, stop coming in from out of bounds. He comes in, kind of hesitates when he crosses in the field and then goes, as long as he's not gaining an advantage from it. All right. I think you have to just kind of punch through the rest of these. Yeah. Again, if we're not ready to restart the play, let's say, you've got to restart, but hey, your partner is dealing with an injured player and you don't see that, or, you're readjusting the goal, or your partner had a flag. But again, as officials, we always want to be ready to restart the play, especially when it's just a standard restart. Here, the ball rolls away from the location where the play was suspended. Get the ball back to where it's supposed to be. Okay, here's one. The offense is going to start with the ball in their offensive end of the field. They have to be outside the box. So you're going to get them outside the box to start the play. It's going to take a couple of seconds to do that. They cannot start within the box. Any questions on this? I know it's a lot.
I have one, Russ. What happens on an over and back when you have a defensive player within 5 yards of the offensive player who is going to get the ball on an over and back? That's an automatic whistle, correct?
Right. We've been playing that if there's no real distinct advantage, that we are blowing the whistle, killing the play, giving the ball to the defensive player or the player who's supposed to receive it. And then if he's ready to go, blow the whistle. If that defender now is within 5 yards and actively defends, you've got to flag down. If he's, if he gives up the path to the goal and doesn't actively defend until the 5 yards is gained, we're good. If another player who is 5 yards away at the time of the whistle comes in and defends after the whistle, that's fine too, because he was 5 yards away at the time of the whistle.
Thank you.
Any other questions? It will take a little bit of time to look at it, but in reality, the kids know to get 5 yards away. They've been doing it for the last, their entire career to get 5 yards away. So most of the time they do it. And, it may take a penalty or two on some of the players to realize what's going on.
Care if I have that microphone there?
Okay.
Okay, gentlemen, we're doing good time-wise. We're going to now bring in Locke Chandler, Dr. Locke Chandler. For those of you who have not, George Spicer, your kid is almost as beautiful as my little baby. Okay, you win. You win. What a beautiful child.
Which one keeps you up later?
I think yours. But thank God she's not keeping me up later. Just you. Dr. Locke, for those of you not had the opportunity to work with Locke yet, just elite level official, serves as our treasurer on the board, great servant leadership. But he is really focused on the body and how the body works, and always very interesting to hear his perspective. So Locke, I'm going to turn it over to you. I do have your video keyed up when you are ready, sir.
All right, so before we start, the saying goes, don't ref yourself into shape, right? Well, we've got 2 weeks until the season is going, and so how many of you have been sort of up and running? That's the big question. So really, when we're talking about preparation, part of that is getting into shape as much as we can beforehand, and the other is just the injury prevention. And so one of the things that can impact that is just the warm-up. And so some of you may know that just the latest that we know about with regards to preparation is really dynamic stretching. You'll see a lot of the high schoolers doing that. It's basically warming up the connective tissue, getting the blood to the connective tissue and joints, et cetera, and to the muscles, and to make them limber and ready for motion, as opposed to how when I was a young athlete, we did a lot of static stretching. Static stretching is, holding a position for a period of time. And so, but the thinking is that that makes you too loose. And then when you're doing an activity that then can predispose you potentially to an injury. And so some of you may feel like, well, I do better with static stretching. And so obviously you need to know yourself. Some people static stretch beforehand because they're so tight, and then they do some dynamics once they get limbered up a little bit. For most of us, I would say doing a little bit of dynamic stretching, which means basically we're going to be doing that in motion. And so that's really the way to go to get ready to go. And so it can be useful. I sent a video to Tom. It's been done by the physical therapist that I rehabbed my knee after my third knee surgery. And so it's all about sort of warming your tissues up and really focusing on a big part of it is the knee. And so those muscle groups that affect the knee. So from your hamstrings, your quads, and your calves, trying to make sure those are not overly tight or overly loose. So really, we're more likely to be injured when we have maybe a tight hamstring out of that group, or a tight gastroc or soleus, or a calf muscle is tight, which then can throw off the range of motion for the knee. And then when we're doing a quick back and forth on the field, a quick change of direction, if our knee range of motion is off, then we are more likely to have a meniscal tear or some other injury of the knee. And so really the dynamics are a useful way to prevent that. And so it's useful in the beginning of the game or before the game has started to do that. And I go across the field to the 50, and it's a time when you can check the cones, and you can maybe take a lap and just make sure the cones are in place where they need to be in place. But then starting, you always want to start with warming up and just sort of a light jog, and then you can get into your dynamics where you want to affect everything from the hamstrings, the quads, the calves, and just different exercises to do that. So this video goes over a few of them. Ones that it doesn't do that I think as good a job would be the calves, where oftentimes, I don't know what you guys like for the calves, but for the dynamics, it's usually where you have your feet staggered, sort of one in front of the other, and you're doing a slight down squat, just sort of straight down to the ground, and your feet are flat. You're not lifting up your heels, and then you're getting a good calf stretch in that back foot. And then you just walk forward, sit down a little bit, do that calf stretch, and so on. But this video is going to go through some of the large muscle groups just to prep for. And again, this is where you're getting to the field on time, where you can do your preview with your fellow officials and then give you time to certify, and then give you maybe 5-10 minutes to warm up. Preferably more of the 10 would be a good to do that. And so this video gets into that. And again, it's part of that, warming up yourselves up so you decrease the likelihood that you're going to get injured out there. And so we have a short compressed season where we might be running a lot of games back to back. And this is really sort of a season that could predispose us to injury. And so making sure that we are trying to not have that be a likelihood, then that's a good thing. The other thing is hydration, is just making sure that you're getting electrolytes. So I oftentimes, when I'm supplementing, I typically do like a electrolyte water, and I add some calcium magnesium to it. So I'm getting about 250 to 300 milligrams of each in there. And I notice when I don't do that, I'm much more sore the next day, and I feel it a little bit more when I'm doing my electrolyte and calcium magnesium recovery. I don't notice it as much. And so it's just giving your muscles the nutrients that they need to help replace what they're utilizing during the game. And so hydration is a big part. The dynamic warm-up is another part. Don't rep yourselves into shape is the other part. But Tom, I'll let you cue it up for the video, and I'll answer questions that come up in the chat. Otherwise.
Okay, videos are always unique, so because I got to patch the audio in from a different source, so bear with me, fellas.
So massage guns can be helpful for getting those trigger points. We should be getting the audio queued up.
So
Dan, you're gonna pull your knee up. So what's gonna happen on this is you're stretching your gluteal muscles right through here. Common compensations that we don't wanna do are too much extension in his spine. See how that's extending his back and cause.
Anything yet, guys?
Back pain.
I hear some audio. It's a little bit
Forward.
quiet
Too
though.
much lean forward, that's not good in your back, and it's also not stretching the glute as much as we want it to. So then next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna make this a sequence and move forward. So go ahead.
Perfect.
And see how each time he's in that good position as he moves forward. And we go roughly 10 yards and then we'll turn around and do a different one back. Okay, next one is gonna be what we call ankle pull. So you're gonna pull your ankle up here, and this is gonna stretch your quadriceps right through here. Common compensation patterns would be too much extension. So see how he's pulling and his back is arching through here. We don't want that. We want to pull your tummy muscles in and keep yourself in a good neutral position in your spine. Another one would be too much lean forward like this. And then you're no longer getting that stretch and you're getting away from that stretch. Okay, so bring yourself up here. Now you're going to move again. So same thing, move and stretch each time, just like that. You go down 10 yards and we'll turn around a different one back. Okay, the next one is what we call a glute pull. So, okay, go ahead, Dan. So this is going to stretch your rotators of your hip in through here. Common compensations are similar to the ones before. You're going to lean too far forward and or lean too far backward. So once again, you have to balance on your foot. Then you just take a step and do the same thing over and over, roughly 10-yard excursion before you turn back around. Okay, the next one is what we call the march and reach. So Daniel's going to demonstrate here. He's going to go down like that. Notice how his back's staying nice and level, nice and straight. He's stretching through this hamstring. He's not rotating up like this. That would be a compensation. We don't want to do that. We want to keep yourself nice and level here. We also don't want you to flex too much in your spine. So that would mean coming down like that. We don't want that either. It's keeping yourself in that nice neutral position right in here. And then you're going to come up into a march, just like that. And what that does is it activates your glute on the other side and also get your balance working as well. Okay, so then you're going to do the same thing over and over all the way down 10 yards. Good, see that nice hip hinge like that? That's perfect. The next stretch we're going to show you is called the lunge and reach. Okay, so Daniel, you can show them how to do this. So he's going to lunge down like this and reach up like that. What that's getting is it's going to stretch your hip flexor muscle right up in front here. It's a very important one to stretch. What you don't want to do is you don't want to extend back too far here, just like that. You don't want to flex too far forward like that where you don't get a good stretch. And then what you're going to do is coming out of it, you want to bring yourself up like that into the march and then back down into that stretch one more time, just like that. And the same side arm goes up because that actually helps extend through that part of your the front of the trunk, and we'll get a bit more of a stretch. Okay. The next stretch is going to be the lunge and twist. So Daniel's going to show you here. He's going to lunge down, getting a good hip flexor stretch here, and then he's going to twist towards the leg that is up. Right here, what this does, it simulates running. When you run, you actually twist your trunk, so we're getting a good simulation of what running is. Then he's going to come up into a march. Go ahead. Good. And then he's going to come back down into the stretch. And once again, going about 10 yards and turn around, and we'll do a different one on the way back. The next stretch we're going to go over is what we call the sumo lunge. So we're going to go here in this position. Good. So he's going to stretch to one side just like that. What you don't want to do is you don't want to bend too far forward like so. And you also don't want your knee to go too far forward over your toes like that, because that's going to put a lot of stress on your knee. You should feel a stretch through your groin. And then you can do the other side just like that. Now, once again, stretch through the groin. And then he's going to turn himself and do the other side just like that. Both sides just like so. And then he's going to turn himself again, all the way down 10 yards and then turn around. The next one we're going to go over is called the leg swing. So he's going to do this is stretching your hamstrings. What I want is a little less force though. Bring it up again. There you go. Good. And then take a step. Good. And what you're going to compensate would be leaning too far forward like that. We don't want to be doing it like that. We want to make sure we're nice and upright, and you don't want to ballistically pull too fast either. Okay? And then just walking like that. Each step. And walking down 10 yards and turning around. Okay, the next activity we're going to do is actually karaoke. Now we're kind of going away from the stretching and going more in towards some dynamic exercise. Okay, so let's demonstrate karaoke, Dan. You want to drive that leg just like that, go all the way down 10 yards, and then come back, driving the other leg just like that. Okay? Okay, the next thing is just a simple skip. So Dan's going to demonstrate this. Skip's got a little bit of a hop, but notice how he drives the arms. That's really important in terms of simulating running. Okay? The next one we're going to go over is butt kick to high knee. So he's going to go down 10 yards with the butt kick and back 10 yards with the high knee. Okay, go ahead. Okay, the next one we're going to do is called a skip in and skip out. This one's a bit more complex, and Daniel will show you how to do this. Your legs going out, you're opening up on both sides, just like that. It's a good way to get those hip rotators stretched out. Okay, next one we're going to go over is called a power skip. What this is going to do is going to get you ready for that plyometric and jumping that needs to happen during running. The next one is called the shuffle turn. So what you're going to do, Dan, is face this way. You're going to shuffle down halfway facing one direction, then in the middle you're going to turn and face the other directions for that full 10 yards. So we don't have quite as much space, but we'll show you roughly how to do that.
Okay.
So that gives you a little bit of an example with it. And I typed into the chat just the resource for the video, and it also has a PDF associated with it. Again, doing the warm up first, just trying to get the hamstrings, trying to get the quads, which is what he was doing, trying to get the glutes opened up, get the calves opened up. And just, you know, typically if you're going to do that and stay well hydrated, you know, you should be okay.
Thank you, Locke. Appreciate the interlude there and getting our guys ready to go. Hey, we had a board member notice, guys. We would ask that your cameras are turned on. We're on the honor system here, that you are in fact attending, and that requires us to see you in attendance since we're certifying for you. Okay, Russell, take us home. Gentlemen, we're on the final stretch. Russell's going to take us home, and we've just got a couple announcements just before 9 o'clock, but we will make sure to be wrapped up right at 9. Russ, here you are.
Thank you. All right, let's go back to this PowerPoint. This next segment, I entitled, keeping yourself in the game or keeping focus by talking to yourself. I talk to myself a lot during the game. Let's go to the next slide there. Yeah. There we go. Ever get this happen to you? It's only the third quarter. When will this game ever end? It's that third quarter blues you get. Yeah, but so, you know, there's a lot of times you talk to yourself. One of the ways is on the way to the game. Now, I've asked some officials to help out with this. And because we're running short on time, guys, I want to hear from you, but let's keep our comments down to about a minute or two. First, we're going to hear from Devin. So go ahead and turn your microphone on, Devin. Let us know you're there. And give us an idea. What do you say to yourself on the way to the game?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. I'm Devin Bentz, 5th year with the association. I'm out in Portland. And let's see, a couple things that I say to myself on the way to the game. First of all, is just kind of forgetting about my day, whatever's happening at work, trying to eliminate all those stressors of my work life and getting focused for the lacrosse game. And I will just go over everything from stuff that I'm going to work on and stuff that I want to talk about in my pregame. And another big thing that will really help me too is even talking about, you know, where am I going to park? Where are we going to have our officials meeting? Just kind of getting that ball rolling will really help me eliminate everything from the day and get focused and in the mindset to go ref some lacrosse.
Awesome. Thank you, Devin. Go ahead, hit the next. James, Let's hear your words of wisdom.
Okay, hopefully you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
I definitely start talking to myself as soon as I transition from riding my tractor to getting ready to be an official. In addition to what Devin said about letting go of my work and my personal life, the first thing I think about on my way to the game is I review who I'm going to be working with. Am I the R on the game? There's special, do I have a pre-game laid out? Are there people new to me that I haven't worked with that I need to consider and work with in terms of making a cohesive crew? I also like to review the teams. Is it a rivalry game? What are the relative strengths of the team and what are the standings? I think about who are the coaches? What are my past experiences with them? What is, do I have any questions or issues that have come up from recent games? And then the last thing I do as I'm driving to the game is I review my goals. What am I working to improve and what problems or issues have I had from recent games? And what that does for me is it just puts me in the mindset of being the most focused, most capable official I can be.
Awesome. Thank you, James. Mr. Reinen.
Guys, everything that was just said was awesome. I would say though that I would like to, if you're working with somebody you don't know, do a tiny bit of research by just looking on our website and seeing when they started, if they're a 15-year transfer from New York or they're brand new, and talk to yourself for what you're going to do for that referee. The most important thing is the safety of the players, but don't let a first year or a new official get off the field without having any talk about how they did, any questions they have, anything like that. But everything else Devin and James said, I thought was really great.
Thank you. We have next, Mr. Johnny B.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much more to say. One thing that I do personally look at is I review what's been the feedback I've gotten over the last few games, or even depending on how far we are into the season, and what I can do to stay present and aware, for the players, for the coaches, to provide the best service, because that's in essence what we're doing, is providing a service to them to give them a safe and enjoyable environment. So I process a lot of what's happened in the past and how I can apply that going forward.
Thank you so much. Mr. Poole, one of our most senior veterans out there.
I appreciate what everybody just said. I think it was great. One of the things that I'm always looking for is how, as a team, we're the third team on the field. We want to be the best team on the field. What can I do to help everybody else be successful? Whether that's a rookie official, a senior official, the coaches, the players. And that comes through with preparation, with knowing rules, knowing when to apply them, not being too good. I want to make sure that I focus the whole game, whether it's live ball or dead ball. I want to make sure that I'm hustling. I want to make sure that I'm professional in everything that I do. And again, as a third team on the field, what can I do to help them be successful? We want to be confident, but not cocky. We want to be humble. We want to work hard. Agree with what Neil emphasized, as well as James, that safety is our #1 priority. And we want to serve, control the game. We want to continue to learn in everything that we do. And we want to have fun and leave where they go, wow, that was a great game, whether we won or lost, and the officials did a great job.
Great, thank you, Craig. And finally, Mr. Lyons. You still with us, Craig? Maybe not. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, guys. You know, that's the important thing is in talking to yourself now. These next few slides, we've got about 10 minutes left to go through 20 minutes of slides, so I'm going to zip through them pretty quick. But, you know, we're always in a position, you know, let's say we're in the settled situation, we're the lead. Hey, we're going to talk to ourselves, you know, let's move to get the best angle. Let's make sure we're seeing the play from the best angle we possibly can. It may be directly on GLE, maybe a step ahead of in front of the goal, maybe a step behind. Go to the next one, Tom. You know, if the defense is contesting at the end line, hey, let's get down there to cover that end line, to get close to the play. We know single's gonna have the goal, my bad, I put the wrong word in there, but single's gonna have the goal. We're gonna move down the end line, cover that. You know, no windmills. What's a windmill? It's when the player gets behind you and you turn your back to the field to watch him run behind you. You know, stay outside of the play, keep it in front of me. Listen for that timeout call. Hey, a player might be in trouble. Coach is gonna want a timeout to keep the possession. Or he wants a timeout to settle his players down to get a good shot set up. Next up there, hey, missed shot, I got to get the end line. You know, nothing looks worse than calling an end line, you know, from GLE. You know, it looks good if you take those 2 good quick steps to the end line to make that call, make the call, sell the call, no one can dispute you. You know, Trail has a sideline behind me, I've got the end line. Again, these are geared to 3-man games, but this is the hardest thing to do sometimes when you transition to 3-man game is letting the trail have that sideline and keeping the play in front of you. Mow the lawn. This is a term that I heard a few years ago at the convention in Baltimore. It was by John Bistowski from San Diego. His mow the lawn is basically, if you got green in front of you, move up closer. Get to a spot where you're close to the play, but not in the play. I was gonna have a group discussion for anything else, but we're slow on time, so we'll go to the next slides. Here we've got the cell situation. You're a single. Make sure you stay above GLE. Don't creep down below GLE. I know it's hard to not do that. Next on there is, you know, your basically job is to scan the front of the goal. Anybody holding, interfering, stopping players from running through, all that stuff. You know, keep an eye on the field. You know, hey, does the trail know the ball's in the box? Because he's going to be the one worrying about over and back. So make sure your signals are big and clear. And you might even yell back, hey, we got the ball in the box, we're good, or something. You know, if goal is, you've got the goal, if the lead's pulled off, you know, lead goes down to end line or out to the sideline, you've got to come into the goal and be there to protect the goal. You know, my sideline on a shot, you know, that's your spot, watch that sideline. You know, and most importantly, protect the shooter passer. Always be talking to yourself, you know, protect shooter passer, because that's your job. Your job is not to watch the ball go in the goal or watch the ball go over the end line. Your job is to protect the shooter and the passer. Let's go on the next. You're the trail. ABC stands for always be counting. You know, you're that final offsides check. There's nothing worse than having 7 guys down in the, you know, 7 plus the goalie down in the defensive end of the field, and the coach yells at you, hey, can you count to 7? You know, you miss that. Always be counting. Now watch those substitutions. You know, teams will come over the midline for subs, they'll come out of the box for subs. Keep an eye on that. Remember, you've got single lead down there watching the play. You know, hey, this is what Craig Poole has always taught me. Count at least 2 shorties. If I got 2 short sticks out there, that means I don't have more than 4 long sticks. Hey, be ready for that over and back and turnover. You know, you've got to hustle for that midline, or you've got to sprint back to as you transition to becoming the new lead. Again, you know, you're the closest player to that far end coach. You're the closest official. Have your antenna up. Player's getting in trouble, he may want a timeout. You know, you've got the sideline on the shot. You know, work that out in your pregame with your other officials. Make sure everybody knows that mechanic. And again, protect shooter passer. All right, here we are. You are the trail, you're becoming the lead. Now, if you notice how he's running, he's looking back at the play. He doesn't have his head down running forward. He's looking backwards. Okay, they're clearing. Keep an eye on the play. You know, you're gonna watch the play, help with my sideline. You know, you may have a good view of that sideline as they come up the sideline. Got a fast break. I got to really move. I got to hustle now. I got to kick it into high gear. You know, having trouble clearing. Hey, coach may want a timeout. Be ready for that. get to the GLE first. Let the play come to you. Nothing worse than, the players beating you down to GLE. Sometimes it happens, but try not to let that happen. Got people in the waiting room.
Well, I can't.
Okay.
Break, yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go through the. All right, let's go screen through these ones. Again, keep going. Yeah, balls on the far side. Look like this is a cool. Balls on the far side of the field. It's a slow clear. The balls are on a single side. Hey, you can help with substitutions and offsides. You've got 3 attackmen down with you. You got 3 defenders right with them. They're all deep in the field. You can watch guys come over midfield. Keep an eye on that. You may catch something. All right. Next one is this is where you are lead to trail. This is probably the time where you can gain some, catch your breath, but you've got that 4-second crease count for the goalie. Your partners are heading upfield. Make sure the goalie gets on the crease in 4 seconds. Next one there, but stay with the goalie. Watch for interference on the goalie. Watch for cheap shots on the goalie. You always say, hey, goalie's out, get him. Goalie's out, get him. Well, no, don't get him. Watch for those cheap shots. Protect the goalies. Stay behind the play. You don't have to run past the play. You are trail the play. Because if there's a possible turnover, now you've got to get back to that GLE. Watch the sideline, watch the substitutions as you come to the field. Jog up field, coaches have nothing, great. If they want to talk to you, stop, have a chat, but watch the field, keep it short, anticipate a timeout call. They're having trouble clearing. 20-second count is coming close. Hey, get that, the coach may want a timeout. Be ready for it. Don't miss timeouts. Glance at the single. Is he waving his arm with a 10 count? Okay, good. They haven't touched the box yet. Has he stopped waving his arm? Oh, they may have touched the box. Okay. Now these are the same thing. Think of here your transition becoming single. Okay, 20-second timer on. Hustle the midfield. Get that midfield cone. Watch the players cross over. Count forward. Got that offsides. Watch my sideline. And however you count forward, some do by 2s, some do 1 over, 2 over, 1 red, 2 red, 1 white, 2 white. It's whatever you feel comfortable with, but count forward. If you hear midi back, hey, that's a good antenna thing. Keep counting ABC, because chances are you want to make sure that when that deep pole crosses, the midi stays back. Watch the riding attackman. They like getting that last second, swat to the hip. Or he may not stop and cross midfield and he's offsides. Okay, balls cross midfield, turn your timer off, start the 10 count, but still count players, which is always kind of fun to count 2 separate 10s. I guess drummers can probably do that really easy. I can't. Balls in the box, give a big signal. Make sure your trail knows, hey, the ball's in the box. He's going to have to worry about over and back now. And most importantly, hustle down to that position, 5 yards up from the end line, or 5 yards up from GLE, be there to help the lead. And finally, we've got a flag down situation. What are you going to say to yourself? Well, always blue 22 slash, blue 22 slash, blue 22 slash. Hey, is that the first flag good? All right, got a second flag. We're going to have to stop play. Blue 22 slash, blue 22 slash, blue 22 slash. Second flag, no meaning scoring, kill the play. Again, repeating who has a slash. Make sure we echo flag down. And finally, just repeat who has the penalty, because if it goes on for a long time, you may forget. All right, last slide, I believe, or second last slide. Email alert system. This is how we try to communicate with everybody. Because it is a bulk email, sometimes it goes to junk or spam. On Sunday at about 11:30 in the morning, Peter Adamson sent out an email to everybody. So check your junk or spam to see if you have an email from info@ohsla.net. If you do, mark that email as not spam or not junk, and it should come to your inbox. Test scores, independent contract agreements. Again, there's a link on the OLA website. I also sent it out in an email alert. Some people got it, some might be in some people's junk mail. These are all due by Friday. Again, this is how you take care of that email issue. If you have a work account as your email address, you may have to work with your IT specialist at work to allow these emails to come through. And upcoming events, we've got preseason training next Sunday, 6 to 8 via Zoom again. Assigning's going to start probably Monday. Training number 3 is the 11th, and the first league game is the 14th, but there are some scrimmages on the 12th and 13th. Back to you, Tom.
Okay, gentlemen, we're almost to wrap. I have, now I've got to scroll to them. It was actually our fault, Russell and I's end on Craig Lyons, one of the best officials you'll ever be on the field with. Craig, are you able to patch in right now? Could you make an audio? Still not. Okay. Just know, gentlemen, that Craig Lyons had some great input, and we'll give him an opportunity to share that next month. But just want to be real clear that Craig was on the call and got locked somehow through our internal Zoom system here. So, gentlemen, we're at 9 o'clock. Appreciate everybody's time. Great showing, 55 participants out of our 62 members. This is very important stuff. We apologize we're not in person, but we know when we meet next in person, it's going to be on a field of play. So I appreciate everybody's time tonight. Have a great evening, gentlemen. We will see you on Sunday night at 6 p.m. sharp. Thank you all, men. Have a great evening.